Welcome to an Introduction to Astronomy course. This is lesson 1. We'll first start with what everyone knows about astronomy. So we already went through our names and where we're from, but I'm curious what you already know about astronomy and what are you hoping to learn from astronomy? If you could raise your hand or unmute.
Maybe we could start with Ojo.
Does anyone know anything interesting about astronomy already?
Not really, but I know some little basics, like that astronomy has to do with stars and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Stars and planets. And anything you're hoping to learn?
Is there a reason why you came to this class? Why you would like to what you would like to learn about specifically? Not really. Okay. Well, we can go through it and you can just talk about some.
Yes, it's Johnny. Okay, we'll continue. So first we'll talk about what astronomy actually is. And astronomy is basically anything that has to do with something outside of the Earth. So this includes planets and stars and things like that, but also asteroids and satellites. We'll learn more about what those things are, but basically anything you can see up in the night sky that's outside of the Earth, it is astronomy. And because everything is so far from Earth, astronomy is an observational science, meaning you can't really do experiments, and rather you observe with your telescope and record data, and that's how you learn more about astronomy. Anyone have any questions about astronomy or what it is?
A question, how does it really work?
How does what work?
How does astronomy work? Like how the process, you know?
So you use your telescopes and cameras to look at stars and planets in the sky and record where they are and what's happening to them and different things about them. And you can use that to predict future things or to look at different things.
Future things as in what?
As in, like, there's supernovas, for example, like when a star explodes, then you can measure that and then use that to detect other supernovas in other places.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Yes, Lula.
Yeah.
How does astronomy look like?
Look like. So when you look up in this at night in the sky and you see the stars, that's all astronomy. All the stars and the planets, even the sun is outside the Earth and then has to do with astronomy. So
Okay, so
the moon as well.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Abiola just joined. Luca, maybe you could ask about.
Abiola, would you mind giving your where you live, your age, why you're interested?
Mommy, have I joined? I think it has what language.
Okay, we can go through it a little later.
We'll continue. So we'll start with our solar system. So you guys have probably heard of
And
planets.
you can ask questions whenever you want. You can interrupt and ask questions whenever.
So you've heard of planets, and you had a question?
I know. Planet. There are 9 planets.
Yeah.
And they are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, And Pluto.
Very good.
Very good. You named them all in basically the order, but so Pluto actually used to be a planet for a very long time, but they actually made it now, they stopped calling it a planet because they decided it was too small to actually be a planet. So now Pluto is
Okay.
considered a dwarf planet, yeah. But
Okay.
completely right, yeah. There are 8 planets, and well, they are Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And you can see the order they look like in this image. It's not to scale though, because some planets are bigger than others.
But I know you
Please, a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
Please, what is an asteroid?
An asteroid. So an asteroid is something that orbits the sun. It's too small to be a planet, but it's still a chunk of rock that goes around the sun, basically. And it can be anywhere from like a few meters across to maybe hundreds of meters or kilometers across, but not as big as a planet.
Oh, thanks.
So
Then
yeah, your question?
why some asteroids fall on Earth?
Because
What's
so there's a lot of asteroids in the solar system, and as the asteroids and the Earth, they move around the sun in different ways. So sometimes they can collide, and when they collide, the asteroid hits the Earth, basically, because the asteroid is a lot smaller than the Earth, and so the asteroid will sometimes hit the Earth.
okay? Thanks.
So the actual scale of our solar system can be seen in this picture. So actually the planets Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are very small compared to the sun and the other planets, even though it doesn't look like that from our point of view. The sun is actually very big.
Thank you, sir.
You can see
Okay.
you could actually fit 1 million Earths inside the sun. That's how big the sun is compared
Find
to.
that.
Anyone have a question? Or anyone curious?
Why you take Jane? Which name you take?
Laura joined.
Hello. Hello, Lucas.
Yes, hello. You had a question?
So you're sure that we can fit 1 million Earths into the sun?
Yeah, we know the size of the Earth and we know the size of the sun, so you can fit 3 million Earths inside of the sun. That's how big the sun is.
Oh,
No, I can't understand. I didn't tell you.
Question?
how much space does it take? Like, how far can you get to the sun before you actually start burning up?
Before you start,
How close can you get to the sun?
well, you can, so if there's actually spacecrafts that go very, very close to the sun, not with people in it, but you can send a spacecraft, and if you have a heat shield, basically, if you make it out of a material that is durable, you can get very close to the sun, but people can't get close to the sun because it's too hot.
Mm. Okay.
Mhm. Okay,
Sorry, please. Good evening, sir. Sorry, please, I came late. I just want to ask, what is a solar system?
a solar system. So a solar system includes a sun, which is a star, and then planets going around that star. So right now, our solar system, Earth is a planet, and the sun is a star, and the Earth goes around the star, which is the sun. And there's many planets and other objects that go around the sun, and that makes up a solar system.
How many solar systems are there?
There are millions of solar systems in each galaxy, and then many millions of galaxies in our universe.
So how in our solar system is called the Milky Way?
Now, our solar system is called the solar system, and our galaxy is called the Milky Way.
And there are many solar systems in our galaxy?
Yes.
Oh.
But is it only one? Is it only one galaxy we have?
No, there's many galaxies in the universe. So the universe is basically everything, and each galaxy is many different stars clumped together.
I heard that there was a newly discovered galaxy only a few months ago. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear about that.
Hmm.
Eclipse take place.
So basically, if you look at the solar system, what's not visible but actually is in the solar system are comets and asteroids, as you can see in this picture. And these are not planets, but these also go around the sun. Does anyone have any questions? Basically, a comet is ice and dust and goes very far away from the sun, and then sometimes comes very close to the sun, which is why you can see a tail, because the sun boils the ice and makes it into a vapor, a gas.
I never heard about this before until recently. They said that the Saturn's rings were icy rocks. So if the icy rocks, if you touch them, are they that cold to actually make one freeze, or they are just cold, as in very cold?
Yeah, space is very cold. Space is like negative 270 degrees Celsius. So all the rocks and everything will freeze if you put it in space, basically. And so water will freeze immediately if you put it in space. It'll be very cold.
Yes.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Okay, why don't you keep going, Luca?
Yeah, we'll go into the history. So we'll go into moons next. So does anyone know anything about moons or our moon?
What?
Know anything about moons, including our moon?
Not really.
So moons basically orbit planets, just like planets orbit the sun. As you can see, the planets go in a circle around the sun. The moon goes around the Earth. If you can see in this diagram.
Can everyone see the diagrams?
No.
Just like the planet goes around the sun, the moon goes around the planet. And the planets have many different. Oh, hello, someone new. So as you can see in this picture, it's a picture of the moons in our solar system. And you can see the sizes of different moons. And as you can see, a planet like Jupiter has many, many moons. It has actually over 80 moons, but these are the 4 biggest moons.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions about moons?
No, sir. One moon.
My teacher told me that there were there are 8 planets with four that are rocky and 4 gaseous. So the gaseous planets, do they have moons?
All the planets have moons. There are 4 rocky planets and 4 gaseous planets. That is true. So as you can see in this picture, the 4 rocky planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, and they have moons. And the gaseous planets also have moons. The gaseous planets are bigger, and
Shut
they
up, mouth.
So the gaseous planets have more moons and are bigger, and but the rocky planets, just like the Earth, also has a moon.
Yes.
So as you can see here, the gaseous planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, they have a lot of moons, whereas Earth and Mars don't have that many moons. Earth has 1 moon, which is the moon, and Mars has 2 moons, and which are Phobos and Deimos. So any questions about that?
Yes, please. I have a question.
Please, one at a
My
time.
name is
Ula,
My question is
can you repeat that?
do we have more than one moon on Earth? Do we have more than one moon on Earth?
Earth only has 1 moon. There are
I didn't hear you.
Earth has 1 moon and has many other. It has like satellites that we put into orbit. But Earth only has 1 moon.
Okay.
But like
Why
Jupiter,
do we call Pluto a dwarf planet?
it's because Pluto isn't big enough to be a planet. Pluto is actually smaller than our moon, which is very, very small. And we found other objects in our solar system that are bigger than Pluto, but we don't think those are planets. And
Does Pluto have a moon?
Pluto does have a moon, yes. Pluto's moon is named Charon. You can actually see in this picture how big Charon is.
Okay, I can see it. Thank you.
Anyone have a different question?
No. I only said myself then. I
Yeah.
asked you first.
Techno?
Hamza, you can ask a question now.
Techno?
Hello, sir.
Or have Ziva?
Yes, please. I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
How big is the moon?
The moon is about the same size as the US, the US. So it's very big, but not as big as the Earth. Very big, but not as big as the Earth.
What?
Do you have a different question?
Thank you.
Different question?
No, please.
Okay, so something interesting about Jupiter's moons is, as you can see, the moon Io
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
So Jupiter has a moon called Io, and that moon actually has volcanoes on it, which is very interesting because there's not many moons with volcanoes, just like volcanoes on Earth. And the moon Europa is actually made out of ice and water. There's liquid ice in Europa. You think there could be life. Does anyone have any questions?
I can see. Now, please.
Madam, come, they have started.
What is a dynamis?
Uh,
What is a dynamis?
what is a what?
What's the dynamis?
Dynamis.
Dynamis?
Yes, please.
Where do you see that?
Deimos is a moon and Mars, Luca.
Oh, yeah.
Have
Deimos?
you answered your question?
Yes.
No, please.
So Deimos is a moon that goes around Mars. So Mars, just like Earth, is a planet in our solar system, and Deimos goes around that. Any questions? Ifyani, you want to say something? Any questions, Ifyani? Okay, so that's it. That's what we have planned for today. If no one, is anyone curious anything more about astronomy?
No, please.
Can you maybe talk about what you will say in the next class?
Yeah. So future topics, we already talked a bit about moons. But-
Yes.
Maybe we can mute everybody and then you can continue.
Why are you always muting me?
Sorry, you have background noise, so it's hard to hear.
Okay.
Alex, you
So
can
that's
you please mute if you're not speaking? Okay, so we will learn about stars, galaxies, and telescopes and space exploration in future lessons, including apart from like the planets and the moons we learned about today. So yeah, we will learn about stars and galaxies and space exploration. Just like very recently, a very big telescope was put into orbit called the James Webb Telescope. And this telescope is so powerful that it can see some of the earliest galaxies in the universe. It can
stop
see
muting me.
Can it see space?
what did you say?
Can it see space?
Hi.
You can't.
Hi. Hello.
Look at there's someone with their hand up. Maybe people should put their hand up and then you unmute them.
Delight, do you want to say something? You have a question? Okay. So
Can the telescope see space?
Delight? Does Delight have a question?
Is it true that Earth evolved into what it is now? Like it was like
So,
Excuse me, sir. Can I ask a question?
wait,
I have a question.
yeah, what's your question?
Is it true that the Earth evolved to what it is now? That it was a little bit like Mars. it was reddish. It was red like Mars, and it evolved to what it is now.
You're not hearing again.
I'm here.
It was very hot first, and then it slowly became cooler and cooler until water could become liquid. So
I'm very really mistress.
that's all we have time for today. The meeting will end soon.
Okay.
So if anyone has any last questions that they would like to ask?
Sir,
Yes, Delight Calvin?
please, why does the moon Io has volcanoes on it?
The moon Io has volcanoes on it because it's very close to Jupiter, and with Jupiter uses gravity, Jupiter's gravity, and Jupiter pulls on Io and makes it very hot, which causes volcanoes to explode.
And sir, please, what's the difference between Mars and Earth?
Sorry, you're cutting out.
Sir, please, what's the difference between Mars and Earth?